right, guys, ladies and gentlemen, we are live. Welcome to the Instigators Hockey Show. Over to my right, that is my favorite Greek, my favorite Canadian, one of the few Canadians I like, former NHL player, Chris Kostopoulos. Pleasure to have you on. And of course, right below me, we got my favorite guy from New Jersey. Usually I don't like Canadians and New Jerseys, but these guys, I actually like them. Welcome to the Instigators Hockey Show, everybody. We are wrapping up the Rangers season tonight. We are talking about the NHL playoffs. Gentlemen, how we doing?
Doing great. Can't wait for the playoffs to start. It's been a long, shitty season.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I'm ready for some good matchups, boys. Some good first rounds in the East, baby.
There is some good matchups, but first thing that I want to talk about, this is something that is bothering me so much right now. The regular season ended for some teams yesterday. The regular season ended for some teams today, and it ends for some teams tomorrow. Should the NHL regular season all end on one day? Now, Katsi, you're a former player. I don't like this idea of some teams ending 2 days prior and then some days ending 2 teams later. I feel like we have days where all 32 teams play each other. I think the season should just end on one day with 16 games, every team playing each other. Tell me I'm wrong on that one.
That could be the smartest thing you've said all year, Matt.
There we go.
I agree with you. I mean, nobody should have an advantage. You know, couple teams playing a little later, a couple teams resting early. That ain't right. But then again, we've gone through this crap with the NHL. They get a bunch of Poindexters there to schedule the schedule every year without thinking about what possibly might happen. And this is what you get. A couple teams are going to get a little extra rest, and some teams aren't, which is kind of, I'll call it what it is. Bullshit.
Yeah. I don't like it. Ricky, your thoughts here?
I absolutely agree with you. It's ridiculous. I don't understand why certain teams are even if it's a slight advantage, but a pulled groin will heal a lot more in 2 days than people think, and it's an advantage to certain teams.
It's so true. Guys that are nicked up and stuff like that, you know, they don't have to skate those 2 days extra. They get treatment. The body heals a lot quicker for them than the other teams. It's just dumb. Another dumb thing by the NHL. And I don't even want to get into the playoff situation again, where some teams have 38 wins that are in, while other teams have 40 that aren't.
Yeah, it's crazy. So I'll stir that pot a little bit because why not? Currently, as it looks, we have 4 of the top 16 teams not in the playoffs. The LA Kings are ranked 20th in the entire league, and they are in the playoffs. Obviously, we have Western Conference, we have Eastern Conference, and so on and so forth. But should it be 1 through 16? Should it be 1 through 8, East and West? I have a poll out there right now on Instagram, on my Instagram channel. There's 150 voters. 65% of them say it should be 1 through 8, East and West. There's about 25% or so that say 1 through 16, and then there's about 15 or whatever, the remaining percentage, saying it should be 1 through 8, East and West. Gentlemen, your thoughts. Should the playoff format change, or should it stay the way it is? Because I know this is an anomaly kind of year, but interesting.
I'll let Ricky go first with this one. Go ahead, Ricky.
All right, well, I grew up, and Katsu, you know this, I grew up with 1 through 16, and I absolutely loved it. It created rivalries. The Rangers-Kings for years. Rangers and Blues hated each other for years after those playoff series. But I don't think it'll ever go back to that. I think it has to be 1 through 8 with a reseed after each round. That would be, in my opinion, a perfect playoff system. I don't agree with the system right now at all.
Well, I like the 1 through 16 because that's my era when I played. But I also think 1 through 8 is probably the way to go. But here's what you have to do besides that. You got to get rid of the extra points for just showing up and getting a tie. You know, getting to overtime, you give them an extra point. A lot of these teams that made the playoffs this year are getting extra point after extra point after extra point for just showing up and getting to overtime.
I was going to bring this up.
You either win the game in overtime or you win the game in a shootout, which I can't stand, and you get 2 points and the other team gets squat. That's all there is to it.
I think it's time to eliminate the shootout and go back to the original origins of overtime. a 5-minute overtime period, and if the game is not won, both team gets 1 point and eliminate this
Perfect.
extra
5
point.
on 5, like when I played. It was 5 on
Yep.
5. And trust me,
Yes, sir.
there was teams winning in 5 on 5s, Ricky, because there was no cycling back and forth with the 3-man wave. You know what I mean? That Russian
I
wave
agree.
that everybody does now. You had 5 on 5. It was still hockey. It was still a regular hockey game in 5 on 5.
Gary Bettman has made the NHL NBA Jam, and if you know what I mean by that, it's a video game where he wanted to turn this into a carnival act, and he has. First of all, a 3-point game should be non-existent in any professional sport. It's bullshit.
Exactly.
Either you win or you lose. Okay, win or lose. Second of all, the overtime 3-on-3, which I believe they're trying to go to no backtracking next year. I think that's on the table or whatever that wave you're calling it. It's got to go. And the shootout. We're just lucky. We're really lucky that we have not had a goaltender of an Igor Shesterkin quality. Anyone. There's Vasilevsky. All of these great, all of these great goaltenders, we've been lucky that have not ripped a groin trying to perform in a skills competition at the height of the season and missed the playoff series. Could you imagine right now if Colorado's a bad example. The goaltenders are very average, but they win. But a team who has a dominant goaltender who gets a torn groin, 2 games left in the season, and can't play in the playoffs when they're picked to win the cup, and all of a sudden you have a lifetime backup with maybe 20 career wins back in that team. It's just it's a disaster waiting to happen.
Well, I mean, look at LA, for example, right? They're going into the playoffs. They have at least 45 losses, combining overtime and regular losses. So they are far below 500. They could have as many as 46, 47 losses or whatever by the time all the games play out. I can't stand the loser point. The loser point is ridiculous. It's got to go. I know some people are saying make a 3-2-1 point system, but I'm just not a fan of it. Win, lose. We can't have this everybody's a winner nonsense. If you win the game, you win the game. If you don't, you get nothing. No other sports rewards losing except the National Hockey League. You know?
I like I told you earlier in the year, we discussed this a little bit earlier in the year. There's nothing wrong with getting a tie. Like a road team that goes on the road on a 5 or 6 game road trip, and you end
NFL does it.
You end up with three road wins and maybe 3 ties. What's wrong with that? Why are you going to get penalized and lose in overtime or lose in some stupid, like I kind of make it look like the NHL wants to turn itself into like Kiss, the live show Kiss with sparkles and flames and all this shit. You know what I mean? That's what they did by bringing in the shootout. That's all that really is. It's a shootout. It's not hockey.
Absolutely not.
I'm waiting for Peter Puck to win the damn Stanley Cup with all this nonsense.
Peter Puck. Hold it, Ricky. How old were you when that came out?
I was a little kid when Peter Puck came out. I love Peter Puck. I'm going to get it tattooed on my chest.
I remember that too because it was on NBC and it was with Bill Mazer was the hockey studio guy back then. Remember him from New York?
Yeah, I sure do. With the bad toupee like Sam Rosen.
That is funny. All right, guys, we got some playoff hockey to talk about. The East is set as far as the playoff matchups goes, and there are 4 barn burners of matchups. Let's start with the top team in the East and technically the number 8 seed. It'll be the Carolina Hurricanes versus the Ottawa Senators. That is going to be an interesting matchup to say the least. Carolina has been kind of quiet all year. They've just been consistently good. They've won a playoff series 6 consecutive years. And Ottawa, making back-to-back playoff experiences, they struggled early on, but they've come out hot in this end of the season. We'll start with our former NHL player over here, Canes. Sens, are you picking the Canadian team, Kotze?
I want to, but I'm not.
Okay.
I'm going with Carolina.
But how many games?
I figure 6, maybe 5. I want to pick Ottawa. I do want to pick them. I kind of like the way their team's built. I like the way their team's built. It's got a little everything that you need to play Stanley Cup playoffs, but I'm going to use your analogy, Matt. Like Carolina. I mean, they've been around a long time. They've been on the cusp for a long time. It's a veteran-laden team with a couple of new additions like Keandre Miller, Ricky.
Great
Not
season
gonna
by
get me in.
Keandre Miller. Fantastic. Wonderful. I wish
I
the
know,
Rangers had
north.
somebody like that.
You knew I had to throw that in there, Ricky. But, I'm going with Carolina, I think, because I think they've always been on the cusp. They still have to prove it to me, though. I mean, if they don't win the Eastern Conference and get to the Stanley Cup Finals, I'll say the same thing again next year. Yeah, a great regular season team, but kaput in the playoffs. But I'm going with Carolina.
Carolina in 6. Ricky, lay it on me.
First of all, I want to say, Maddie, great job. 2 weeks ago, you called every one of these series as what they were going to be, team for team. So great job doing that on your end.
Thank you.
Well, that's what he's here for.
No, that's what he's Maddie the stat.
Does that mean does that mean my contract continues for next year?
No.
More than that.
You're
I need a 3-year deal, guys.
You're going to Hockey Night USA in a 3-year deal. We have to agree. I think Carolina in 5. I just think they're too good for Ottawa, and I think this will be the end of Carolina's run. They're going to win this series, and then they're out in round 2. And I think Brenda Moore gets fired. I'm going to go boldly and say, how many times could you kiss your sister and not make it to the big dance? This will be the end of the Carolina coaching dynasty there. They're going to win the first round and be knocked out in round 2. No matter who they play in round 2, they're out.
Well, you guys are wrong. You both picked Carolina, and Ottawa is winning in 7 games. I just did my TikTok on it today. Ottawa is winning, and here's why. What does Carolina struggle with? Physicality. And Ottawa brings it. They struggled with Florida. They got beat up 2 out of the last 3 years in the conference finals with Florida. Ottawa is tough. Ottawa is gritty. They got another Tkachuk brother. The better Tkachuk brother, according to you guys, even though Matthew is clearly the better Tkachuk brother. But we're not going to get into that because you guys think Brady is better.
Nonetheless, you don't get to throw your little shot in without a retort back. That's all.
Well, let's put it this way. If you go Aho versus Tim Stützle, who's the better centerman? Probably Aho is all around better defensively, but Tim Stützle is very underrated in my opinion. Ottawa's got the best winger in the series in terms of Brady Tkachuk. I would take him over anybody Carolina has, whether you have Ehlers, whether you have Svechnikov. I think they have the best winger. I think Ottawa has the best defenseman in the series. I think Sanderson is the best defenseman in the series. And then it comes down to goaltending. And Bussi, he's been great for Carolina this year. Playoffs are a different animal. We'll see how he plays. Ullmark, he's been very up and down, but he does have playoff experience. Ottawa in 7, take it to the bank. Carolina fans already don't like me for that one. But, hey, we're flip-flopping over, okay? We're going to the Battle of Pennsylvania. We got Pittsburgh and Philly. Nobody thought Philly would make the playoffs. They've been fantastic. Rick Tocchet should get Coach of the Year votes, in my opinion. My Coach of the Year is Dan Muse, rookie head coach for Pittsburgh. I predicted these 2 teams to be the bottom of the Metro. They are the 2-3 matchup in the Metro. It's going to be a very interesting series, to say the least. Got a little rivalry aspect. Should be fun. Ricky, who you got?
Philadelphia Flyers in 6.
Wow.
Philadelphia is peaking at the right time. Philadelphia has a more experienced coach. I'm not saying a better coach, but a more experienced coach with playoff coaching experience. And I just think the Philadelphia Flyers, I hate to say this because I hate both teams. If both teams went to center ice and collided and every player got a concussion and they didn't finish the series, I'd be perfect with it. But I just think the Philadelphia Flyers are peaking at the right time. And sometimes you just have to have that momentum. And I think Pittsburgh is, congratulations on a great first season, Mr. Muse. But I don't think it's your year to win your first playoff series. Philadelphia in 6.
Gotcha.
Interesting, Ricky. I'm going to go with the old wobbly Penguins. You know how they wobble down the street there on the ice down in up north and down in Antarctica? I'm going with the Penguins. I don't know why, but I think it has to do with Sidney Crosby. I give Philly a lot of credit. Not one of us picked them to make the playoffs this year at all. And then all of a sudden, they didn't even come into the light of the playoffs until the last couple of weeks. And Rick Tocchet did a great job, okay? And I think he probably should get a lot of votes for Coach of the Year. There's no question about it. But I'm going with Pittsburgh. I think it's their last hurrah. You got a bunch of aging guys, but they've all been there before. Where the guys in Philly, there ain't many guys there that have had playoff experience that have gone very far into the playoffs. So I'm going with Pittsburgh, and I'm taking them in 6.
Kotze, this is why we have you, because you're correct. Ricky, you're not. Pittsburgh in 6 games. That is what is going to happen, and here's why. Pittsburgh has more balanced scoring. They have 5 players with 60 points or more, where Philly only has 2. Philly doesn't have the depth scoring, and Philly is 32nd on the power play. And Kotze, you know, is better than anybody. In playoff time, you got to make the most of your opportunities. Special teams matter. Pittsburgh is better on special teams. Pittsburgh has more depth scoring. You got guys like Igor Chinakhov. You've got Ben Kindle, who's come up out of nowhere. Crosby's healthy. Malkin's healthy. Eric Carlson's having a tremendous bounce back here. I think the only advantage Philly has is their defense is a little better. They're a little better goaltending, and they have a little more experience coaching. But I think the veteran leadership, if a healthy Crosby, a healthy Malkin, one final hurrah, Pittsburgh moves on, and that's pretty much it. I think experience matters at that point. So we're going from here. We go to the Atlantic side. We got the Battle of the Bees. The Buffalo Sabres have ended their 15-year or 14-year playoff drought, and the Boston Bruins are back in the playoffs after very shocking, in my opinion. Again, I had them one of the bottom 2 teams in the Atlantic, and they traded Carlo, they traded Marchand. Boston finds their way right back into the playoffs. Very interesting, to say the least. Buffalo, Boston, who we got? I'll go first this time. I think this is a very competitive series, to be 100% honest with you guys. I think everybody is just going to pick Buffalo right away, and I really want to pick Boston. I really do. But I'm going to go with Buffalo in 6 games because I just trust. I think Buffalo has a little more firepower. I think that Boston's going to be a little harder to score. I think Boston
Are
has
we
the best
back? 'Cause I
offense.
can't hear anybody.
I'm back.
I'm back. You can't hear me or no?
You can hear me, Kotze?
I
Yes,
can hear
sir,
you.
Bob.
We lost.
I can't hear Maddie at all.
You can't hear me? I can hear you. No, nothing? Okay. Let me try to re-enter, Ricky. Try to re-enter the studio. Hang on. Can you hear me now? No? Nothing? Okay. Try to re-enter, Ricky.
Hey, can you hear us, Maddie? Because we can't hear
I can hear you fine. Can you hear
I can
Ricky?
hear you.
No, okay.
You can hear Maddie?
Yep.
Yeah,
I don't have him at all.
Sorry. Here. Ricky, try to Kotze, tell him to try to re-enter the studio.
Re-enter in the studio. That's Maddie's orders.
There you go.
All right, listen. Continue with your Buffalo parade.
You like Buffalo or Boston, Kotze?
I told you. Buffalo's my choice. I told you guys for months now. 2 teams, Boston and Buffalo, at the beginning of the year. We could have bet everything we have, our houses, our cars, our wives, our children, that none of them will get in the playoffs. But look what happened. Buffalo stormed since the All-Star break.
Yeah.
And I like Buffalo in 6 games. It's not going to be easy, though. Boston playing good hockey right now. They play a stingy game, and they play an opportunistic game. But I've been hanging on Buffalo for a while now, and I'm taking Buffalo. I think I know the inexperience is there, but I really believe that they're physically fit. They're large. They got plenty of scoring. Their goaltending's been outstanding the last 2 months. I think Buffalo takes it in 6.
Yeah, we're trying to get Ricky back here, unfortunately. Let's see if we can get Ricky. Can you hear us now, Rick?
Yeah, I'm good. Could you hear me, guys?
Yep, we're good.
Hey, I'm sorry, guys. Like I said, I'm working an emergency situation tonight at work, so I apologize about being
That's
out
all
here.
right.
No, you're here. We're just happy to hear.
If you can still hear me, I'm going to take the
good.
Buffalo Sabres in 7.
Okay.
Buffalo in 7 with Jason Zucker scoring an overtime goal in Game 7 to eliminate the Boston Bruins. And Lindy Ruff should get many Coach of the Year votes, in my opinion. What a great Cinderella story for that team, and I'm really happy for Lindy.
Ricky,
is it a Cinderella story, though?
Give me one of these here, Ricky? Is that what he's doing?
Is it a Cinderella story?
It absolutely is. Are you kidding me? A team that hasn't been in the playoffs for how many years? How many?
I guess.
Is there a team out there that's in the playoffs?
Everybody's glazing Buffalo.
For how many years?
Everybody's glazing Buffalo. I really want to take Boston in the series. I really do. Everybody's glazing Buffalo so much. I just really want to take Buffalo in this one, Boston, but unfortunately we're gonna go Buffalo. Everybody's going Buffalo on this one. And the final one in the East, we got Tampa and Montreal. Tampa, Montreal. This one will feed families. This one's going to be my favorite series to watch. Kucherov has been unreal, 130 points on the season. Nick Suzuki has 102 points for Montreal. You got Cole Caulfield with over 50 goals this season. Going to be a fun game, fun series. Tampa and Montreal. Who you got?
I almost don't want to answer this one because I don't like either team personally. But boy, I want to pick Montreal, but I can't because of the growing up in Ontario. We're supposed to not like the Montreal Canadiens, and that still sticks with me today, even though I've got some pretty good friends who played for them over the years. How about Tampa in 7?
Tampa in 7.
I think Montreal's good enough to push them. I really do.
I think so too. That's my take. I got Tampa in 7. I think it's just going to come down to goaltending. Montreal can score. Tampa can score. Tampa can defend. Montreal's not that great at defense. I think Montreal probably has a little more depth scoring, to be 100% honest with you.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Montreal's got better second and third lines.
I agree. I think Tampa maybe has the best top line. Okay. But outside of that, I don't think Montreal's defense is as good as Tampa. I know Lane Hudson is that great, but I don't think that Montreal's gonna stop the puck enough. We got Tampa and Montreal. Rick, who you got? We both got Tampa in 7.
Montreal Canadiens in 6.
Wow,
they were my pick this year to go far. I picked them to go to the conference final this year in the early part of the season, and I'm sticking with my pick.
I picked Tampa to go all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals, but I guess we'll see.
I also think it's going to be a fairly physical series, believe it or not.
I agree.
Montreal's got some pretty big boys on that team, and I think Tampa's got a few guys that like to push back too a little bit. So I don't think it's going to be your nice, clean hockey. It's going to be who survives basically each game.
And if Tampa and Buffalo play each other, it's going to be that too.
I think if we get that one series where one team gets a 3-goal lead in that game, there's going to be some scraps in that series. That's the one series that could be a little bit of a throwback.
But isn't that the way it should be, Ricky?
I think Ottawa would be like that with Carolina, though. Honestly,
set the tone.
Connection dropping out there a little, Rick. All right, guys, we're going over to the West real quick. I know Dallas and Minnesota. Is anything else official in the West yet, or we still can have some shuffling around these next couple of days?
I'm not sure what's going on in the West. I know the teams are set. It's just a matter of
the teams are set. I know Dallas and Minnesota are set.
Aren't you supposed to decipher that for us old guys?
Listen, there's still games being played. Some of these teams got to shuffle around. I mean,
again, just another dumb move by the NHL. But go ahead.
I get it.
Dallas and Minnesota's been set for like 10 days. It's like ridiculous.
Okay, but the other 3 haven't.
But I don't think anything else is set in the West yet, right? So we got Dallas and Minnesota.
Colorado's going to be at home for sure.
Well,
so give us the teams, Maddie. Who's in it right now? Who's the teams in the?
Let's talk about the one series we know. We got Dallas and Minnesota, the series that we've known for about 4 months because these two teams have been top 3 in the Central, and Colorado's run away with it. They both have outstanding wing tandems in Matthew Boldy and Kaprizov for Minnesota. You got Robertson and Rantanen for Dallas. I think Dallas has a little bit better center depth. I think they have a little bit better top-tier center depth with Johnston. I think he's a better center than Eriksson for Minnesota. I think Minnesota's got the best defenseman in the series, Quinn Hughes. But I think when it's all said and done, I had picked Dallas over Tampa in Stanley Cup Finals. I'm going with it. It's going to be a hard-fought series. Dallas is better in the playoffs. They've been in the conference finals 3 straight years, and Minnesota has repeatedly choked in the first round over and over. They've been in the playoffs 9 out of 10 years and only left the first round once. I think, unfortunately for Minnesota, they've run into a very good Dallas team. They've put up an awesome fight in 7, but Dallas moves on to round 2. Gentlemen, anyone care to disagree?
Ricky.
Dallas in 6.
2006.
That was quick.
Yeah, I'm not a Minnesota fan. I think Minnesota's going to come up a Vinny Trocheck short, and I hope that's what happens. You don't want to part with the people at the trade deadline when you went public and you made Chris Drury look stupid and leaked all these trades to the New York media and then ended up pulling players back at the last minute. I can't root for him. Let's go Dallas.
Listen, I know you guys know what I think of both teams. I think they're both choke artists, personally.
They both can't choke.
They are. In the last 5 years, they have been, both of them. Okay? And I'm going to probably go with Dallas. You know, but I think no matter what, both these teams, I think it's going to go 7 games. And I think they're going to beat the shit out of each other so much that if they happen to play Colorado the next round, they're in deep shit. That's the way I look at it.
Well, speaking of Colorado, Cale Makar is banged up. I tend to think that they got lucky playing, if they're going to play LA in the first round, Colorado. I don't see Colorado getting past round 2. I'm sorry. Cale Makar is banged up. I think Colorado and Carolina are very similar in the aspect of they've kind of just coasted through the regular season. And I just think that Colorado hasn't really played meaningful hockey in a long time because they've just been so good. They peaked in the first half of the season.
What are you talking about? They played Dallas a couple of weeks ago back to back. And that was they were fighting.
And Dallas has their number in the playoffs.
They were still fighting for a spot, both teams. And Colorado handled them.
Colorado's playoffs not on lock for a while.
And they handled them.
Come on. Oh, and who won in the playoffs last year?
Did you not watch those games, man?
Oh, did you not watch the playoffs last year when Dallas sent Colorado home?
That's okay, but Dallas hasn't won a Stanley Cup since when?
1999.
You weren't even born then.
I was born in 94. Stop it! Stop
no wonder we haven't. No wonder we haven't had a cup since.
Last I looked, you got Nathan McKinnon, one of the top scorers in the league. Nasius, another top scorer.
Just as long as Nathan McKinnon doesn't have a wide open net.
You underestimate Colorado all the time. That's your pet peeve. I get it.
No, because Nathan McKinnon can't hit open net.
Both Dallas and Minnesota have to prove it. They've proved nothing in the last 5 years. They prove nothing that they're good regular season teams and go flat in the playoffs. Plain and simple. You got nothing to back it up that they're great in the playoffs. They're not.
We'll see. But I don't think Colorado exits round 2.
Well, they're better than those two teams.
I don't think so. I think either one of them beat them.
You think either one beats them?
Colorado's playing LA round 1.
Your next Stanley Cup champions, Utah.
Utah probably beat Colorado in round 2 if they played them.
If Colorado's playing Los Angeles, it's Colorado in 5.
I think it's Colorado in 4. I think LA is horrible. I think LA is so lucky to be in the playoffs. I said before, they have 45 combined losses, and they just they were overtime loss merchants.
Let me ask you guys a question because I'm controversial. Either one of you. Is either one of you guys rooting against Panarin as hard as I am? Because I just hope to see him fail. I'm really down on Panarin. The whole I'll only go here, holding him over a barrel, having more money offered to him by the Rangers and turning it down. As Seattle came out, and that's the Percocets and the alleged sexual assault and everything else that was covered up here. You know what? Screw you, Panarin. Go to LA, take your money and rot. You're not going to make the playoffs next year, and you're going to be out in 5 games this year.
Well, you know who I feel. You know how I feel about Panarin, where I think he was a great Ranger, but he screwed the Rangers in the long run, and that was well within his right. We handed him a no-move clause. But, I mean, he could have made $34 million in Seattle. Seattle offered him a 4-year, $54 million deal. He took 2 for 22 to be in LA. What is that?
He could have took that same deal in New York.
Yeah, Matty, I think that the reason why he took less than going to Seattle, okay, is because he screwed up the beginning with the Rangers to make himself look like a better guy now. He knew it wasn't good publicity for him. That's why he settled for what the Rangers basically had offered him or a little less. That's the only reason. Listen, Panarin's a great hockey player. I'm not going to deny that. But you know what I'm tired of him? I'm tired of watching his east-west passes inside the other team's blue line. Yeah, it's great when he scores three points one night and then does nothing for 2 games. Then he gets another 4 points one night, and everybody goes, "Well, he's got 7 points in 4 games." I mean, that's a Panarin for you. Okay,
Gets the points in both.
Really good hockey player, but not a guy that you're going to say, "Boys, I'm going to jump on your back and ride it to the Stanley Cup." He's not that guy.
No, he's not. No, he's not. I don't know if we lost Ricky there.
Yeah, we lost him. Well, Ricky's. This is why the show's good like this, because we're not in a professional studio. This is like bar talk, and that's the way I've always wanted with Paulie D. We've always wanted it that way. And if Ricky's in and out, he's in and out. You and I can handle it from here on in if we have to. That's all there is to it.
100%. Ricky's back.
He's back again. Now he's upside down and sideways.
Yeah, I'm sideways and upside down. I apologize, guys. Like I said earlier.
It's all cool, Ricky. It's all cool because this is just like being in a bar. We're all bullshitting at the bar.
Well, you're not letting me finish. I'm in a gas station in the ghetto, and I literally just watched some crackhead rob a bike. I wish I would have had the camera on. He literally watched another crackhead go in to the convenience store. He looked at it, ran up, grabbed the guy's bike, and just rode away on it. It was the funniest thing I ever saw in my life. I was trying to get it on video.
Welcome to the Instigators Hockey Show.
Ricky, you should have asked him who he likes in the Stanley Cup.
I know. I was trying, Kotze.
Oh, well. All right.
So where were you?
Maddie,
I don't know how to segue from that, but okay, cool.
We just finished the Dallas, Minnesota thing. Now what are we on to? The Colorado, LA? We already said it, right?
We just said Colorado.
I'll give LA one game, maybe. 5 games.
Yeah, I think LA gets swept. Colorado is the first round bye, pretty much.
Maddie, could you still hear me if I have the camera off?
Yeah, I can hear you. We can hear you.
You actually look better this way, Ricky. You look better this way.
I do look better, Kotze.
You might need a tan, though.
Looks like Casper.
So, as it looks right now, it looks like Edmonton and Utah playing each other. There could still be some shuffling. Vegas could get the top spot as well. So it looks like it'll be some variation of Edmonton, Utah, Vegas, Anaheim, something like that. There still could be some sorting out right now. Edmonton, without Leon Draisaitl, do you think there's any series that Edmonton would lose in the first round? You think if they play Vegas with Tortorella, you think Edmonton is a shoo-in to go to the second round, even without Draisaitl?
I think if they end up playing Anaheim, and I love Joel Quenneville, former teammate, friend of mine, done a great job. They kind of dropped a little bit at the end, Anaheim, but if they play Anaheim, I think Edmonton wins that series. I think they win it 6 or less. It could be 5. I do. And if it's the other way around, who's the other possibility that they're going to play, Matt?
Vegas or Utah.
I think they'll probably beat Vegas and they'll probably beat Utah too. But I think with Vegas, it'll probably go 7.
I think without Draisaitl, that's a tall task. If Draisaitl's not
I say Vegas beats Edmonton in 6. How about that one? I don't think Torts will let Edmonton beat them. I think they beat the Willie Mammoth. I think they beat the Ducks, and I think they will lose to the Golden Knights.
I agree. I think they'll lose to Vegas, and I think they'll lose.
You guys love Vegas. I don't love them. They
under Tortorella, I like them.
They were I know, but they were very average all year. All year.
Were.
And they still
now
are.
they're under Tortorella. Totally
remember, Matty, Florida has 40 regular season wins, and Vegas has 39.
Okay.
Think about what you're saying here first.
Okay. And guess what? Guess what? Everybody's record in the playoffs.
There's no 5-minute overtime in the playoffs, and there's no shootouts either.
I get that, right? But you can say
there was no torts before that.
The
greatest coach in the New York Rangers history.
Love torts.
That's what we've been saying. I like Tortorella. He won a Stanley Cup.
I love torts. Portly's the only one that don't like torts. Everybody else loved him.
And Larry Brooks didn't like him.
Larry's dead. He don't care if Torts is in Vegas.
God rest your soul, Larry. Hey, listen. I think Edmonton is going to be in real trouble this series. I think Edmonton I think Edmonton this playoff run is a far worse team than either of the previous 2 seasons. I don't think they have the depth. I think McDavid is obviously all worldly. I think if you have a banged up Leon Draisaitl, That's all Edmonton is. They're Draisaitl and McDavid. And if
I've been watching the Canadian news, and Draisaitl could have played this weekend if they had to. Okay, so he's going to be ready for the playoffs one way or the other.
Is he going to be 100%?
Well, it doesn't matter. Has Vegas been 100%?
It doesn't matter. Of course it does matter.
Vegas has been horseshit all year. They've been terrible all year. They're
Not
going
under
to win a division.
Tortorella.
They're going to win a division with one of the worst records in the league.
But yet,
and thank God that Torts is there to right the ship and beat the Oilers.
I love Torts. You know that.
I think Vegas. I think Vegas will get to the conference finals. I think Vegas will get to the conference finals.
Well, the way they have it set up in the West, anything's possible because top teams are playing each other early, and some teams that are kind of top teams in the first round might get a free pass all the way to the Stanley Cup Conference Finals.
Absolutely right, Kotze. That division out there, Maddie said it for months. Some of those teams just really have the weakest matchups that can walk right to the Stanley Cup, and it's not.
Edmonton's in the great side. I mean, you look at it. I mean, Philly, Pittsburgh, Carolina, and Ottawa. I mean, Carolina, we know their history of choking in the playoffs. If Carolina doesn't get to the conference finals with that side of the bracket, with those four teams, like, then Rod Brindamore's job could be fired, in all honesty.
I agree with you. I disagree with you on that, Matt.
And then the other 4-team bracket that you're looking at, that you're like, it's pretty much a cakewalk. You got Vegas, Edmonton, Utah, and LA. And again, even LA, who's the worst team of that, or not LA, it would be Anaheim, it would be Vegas, Edmonton, and Utah. If any one of those teams could make the conference finals, Utah, Vegas, Edmonton, any one of those teams could make the conference finals. Then you have two sides of the bracket of a four side of the bracket where you have Montreal, you have Tampa, you have Buffalo, you have Boston. That's a bloodbath. Then you have Colorado. LA is obviously a pretty bad team, but Minnesota and Dallas. So these brackets are all crazy. It's kind of where you end up. That's why positioning matters.
That's where the league screwed. I mean, the only thing good about what the league did playoff-wise is Colorado got the right team because they were the best team in the West. So they got the worst team, technically, like they should have. They deserve to get the worst team. But the rest of them, Minnesota and Dallas is a big mistake by the NHL. I don't care.
Well, hey guys, let's do this. What do you say about this, Kotze? Tomorrow, or when the league finally ends in 2 weeks and the last game's played in the regular season, let's get our lovely producer, Miss Beth, to get our brackets up on our website, and the four of us put our brackets out, and let's put our money where our mouth is. Let's go. Let's see who comes out with the best bracket, and let's see which guy hits the Stanley Cup Finals right. Open it up to some of our fans, and I'll put it out this way. Whatever fan scores a perfect bracket gets a free T-shirt from the show and Kotze's Taco Shop, and we'll put this out there so the guys have something to go out and fill out some brackets for.
You hear that, everybody? Fill out your brackets. You're on YouTube, TikTok. Fill it out. Where's mine? When we get all the matchups, we'll fill them out. 100%. So, listen, we got about anything to talk.
We didn't talk about Vegas and the future Stanley Cup champ Utah.
We did talk about Vegas. You just shitting on Tortorella.
We didn't talk about Utah, though.
Utah's going to walk right through Anaheim. Utah and Anaheim. Who you got? Utah's going around to 6 games.
If it's Vegas,
you want to know why?
Utah thinks Vegas, okay?
I will tell you why Utah is going to win. Because you two and Paulie have been claiming the entire season that I picked Utah to win the Stanley Cup. When I have,
you did.
When I said I have not. I said they could win a playoff round. And now it'll be a giant middle finger to both of you when Utah wins a playoff round.
You said they were going to win the Stanley Cup and finish second in the college basketball playoffs.
Let me just say,
Utah will win a playoff.
You did not say for sure that they were going to win the Stanley Cup, but you did say it's possible for them to win the Stanley Cup.
Of course it is possible. Are they eliminated?
And we all told you you're full of shit. That's all.
Well, you know what? When they win a playoff round, I'll accept your apology because I am kind, I am merciful,
listen,
and this and that.
I give you a lot of credit for Utah. I thought at one point or another They didn't fold. They came close to folding, but they managed to play well the last 2 weeks to stay in that
And
first
and
round.
when did I say this? When did I say that about Utah?
No, I'm giving you credit there.
October, November. I said that.
Yeah.
Okay?
I'm
So it's
giving you
not like
credit.
we're just jumping on the bandwagon.
Now, can I change my pick now? I'm taking Utah over Vegas.
No. They're not. They probably won't play Vegas. Probably play Anaheim. Maybe Edmonton.
Well, right now they might be playing Vegas.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Then they're going to lose in the
as of
first round. I'll
tonight,
take Vegas over
Before
Utah.
all the games are done tonight, the matchups are Vegas, Utah, and Edmonton and Anaheim. And it still could be changed depending on what happens tonight. Like Ricky
I don't know.
said,
I don't want to put it out there because you got to see the matchups because I think
the
Edmonton
matchups
over
as
Anaheim.
of tonight. The matchups are up of who would play as of now,
Yeah,
and Vegas would play Utah.
it's pretty crazy. Pretty crazy.
Go Utah!
Hey, listen, we got about 20 minutes or so. We're gonna go on here because I know Katsu, you got to go. Before we
I'm
dive
up at
into
9:30.
any playoff talk that you guys want to talk about?
I just want to mention one thing. Like old school, Rick Bonus pulled a John Tortorella the other day as Columbus folded like a house of cards towards the end. I thought Columbus was going to make the playoffs for sure a month and a half ago, and they folded like a house of cards. They went 3-9 and whatever at the end of the season, and he just shredded his team, telling the world that they don't care. They don't care to hate losing. They don't give a shit, basically. And I totally agree with him. And I tried to explain.
Who
this.
do you think, Katsi, who do you think
Why-
specifically he's targeting there? Who do you think he's talking about in that locker
Zach
room?
Rowinski. He said straight up, their best player. One of the
There's a bunch of guys on
no,
that team.
he
that
specifically
underperformed
said
that
Zach
team.
Rowinski.
Like, how much longer are you going to wait for guys like Marchenko to reach his potential, too? You know what I mean? I watched this guy. He's got all the talent in the world. And has he ever scored 30 goals yet? You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of guys on that team. But I just love the fact that he called them out, not being afraid that he might not be back next year. He says, if I'm back, I'm changing the whole damn thing. But he don't care anymore. Like Rick Bonus, I give you a lot of credit for coming out and speaking like that, because today in the soft world that we live in today, you got to coddle these players. You got to baby their asses all over the place. Rick Bonus called them all out. Now I also heard today, late before we came on, is that a lot of the people there in Columbus absolutely agree with Rick Bonus. So we'll have to see how that goes on. I just wanted
We'll
to
see how many people are going to
agree.
agree if he's back in. Because you know what? He was retired, and Columbus dragged him back to
I
coach.
played against Rick Bonus. He was in the league when I played. I mean, that's how old he is.
But I'm just saying, he was
Bonus
retired
was
as a
on
coach.
TNT.
He got back. We'll see if he's back on the team next year. Because he did a pretty good job up until the end. That team got revitalized. They were in a playoff spot. They fell apart at the end, like you said. But
what
it'd be
Columbus
interesting to see
Blue
if it comes
Jacket are
back.
we trading our second first-round pick for? That's what it comes down to.
Zach
Blue
Walensky.
Jackets? Who would I want on that team?
Zach
Only
Walensky.
Olivier.
I want the tough guy, the great winner.
I said it since the middle of the season. I would give up Will Cooley in the third and get Olivier here. I've said it on this show.
I'd do it. Well, Olivier scored 20 goals this year, guys.
Yes, he did.
Exactly.
Last I looked, Will Cooley's at 20.
Yes, he did.
I'd do it.
Speaking of the Rangers, right now they have projected the third overall pick with the win today.
What does that mean, though? Do they have to give it to somebody, or?
No, they don't. They've got no. We actually own this pick, believe it or not.
Oh, okay.
With the win tonight, which they're up 4-2 currently, they could possibly fall to fourth overall in the Stanley Cup draft, falling to a potentially as far as six back in the draft lottery. Obviously, they could win number one overall. The Islanders won the number one overall pick last year at the 10th overall pick at the start of the draft lottery. So really, it's a crapshoot with the draft lottery. Fellas, does the draft pick matter? Do you want to be in a certain spot? Do you think getting number one overall, Gavin McKenna, is going to change the franchise? Or is he more of just one of those number one overall picks that isn't going to change the franchise, but it's going to just be a solid player as a building block?
I'd like to go first on this one.
Go ahead, Ricky.
I think the problem is One, I never count on winning the lottery, so I'm not thinking the Rangers are going to get that pick. The problem is the Rangers lack forward depth. They lack size and they lack skill. And I believe the next three quality players are all defensemen.
There's
I
two
might be
wingers and
wrong.
two defensemen.
Okay, so it's 2-2. I
But
would
one
guarantee
is
you,
a Swede, Stenberg. So you
yeah,
don't like the
eliminate the
Europeans.
Swede. The
There
Rangers
you
have
go.
to
I know you
eliminate the
guys don't.
Europeans.
You only like North Americans. You don't like the Europeans.
Nope,
No, I
I don't
didn't
want
say that.
European.
I didn't say that. I did
I
not
know,
say
I'm
I only
saying
I
like
that.
know.
North
Constantly
Americans.
said that.
I'm saying we don't have a record of drafting good European players. That's all I'm saying.
No, we never do.
But I think personally, McKenna's going to go first. I think the two defensemen go next, and then the Rangers are at 4 or 5. And there's a massive drop off in this draft from 4 to 5. There's not from 4 to 6. The next quality center is Malhotra, who really they're saying is a marginal top 10 pick. So this draft gets old. It's a depth draft with a lot of depth first rounders. There's not a lot of stars. So you got to almost hope that they finish 4th and not 5th. But I don't think that's going to happen after the win tonight. And
Well,
I think
they're
McKenna,
third right now. They're third, so
they're going to drop
they
to
go
4th.
to fourth if they win.
They're going to win the game because that's what they do. They don't even know when to choke. This organization's stupid, but never mind. Don't get me started on that. But I think McKenna is going to be a solid first round, 25 to 35 goal scorer, but he's not the quality of a 70 goal, 50 goal type guy. He's not an earth shattering pick, in my opinion. So I don't think it makes a huge difference no matter where he goes. In my opinion, I'm not really worried about not getting him. I'll put it that way, not to talk anymore.
I agree. I want Keaton for Hoef. I know there's Chase Reed, there's Keaton for Hoef. They're both right-handed defensemen. Those are the top two D men in the draft. Chase Reed is almost a year older than Keaton for Hoef. Keaton is literally turning 18 right before the draft, whereas Chase Reed is turning 19. He's about 7, 8 months older, so there's a little bit more of, I guess, growing pains with Verhoev, even though Chase Reed is looked at as the better player. Verhoev is 6'4", Chase Reed is 6'2". I like the size of it. I like the speed of it. But I agree with you, Ricky. If they do get McKenna, they've finally given Perot an opportunity. They've finally given Lafreniere an opportunity. I don't see them doing that with McKenna because even in the dog days of the season, the power play unit that they put out, it's JT Miller, it's Zibanejad, it's Trocheck, it's Adam Fox, and it's Lafreniere. So Perot's not getting that first unit power play time. If they hypothetically did get a McKenna or Stenberg, they're not going to get that first power play time. They're going to get power play 2 time, which we see with the Rangers. They put out the first unit for 90 seconds. They don't give the second unit any time. So you're going to get a Lafreniere 2.0 situation if you get McKenna. I'd rather them draft a defenseman if they get top 3. That's just me. There's a lefty defenseman. I can't think of his name. He's like 5th or 6th prospect. I would like that because I think the Rangers need help desperately on the left side. Their right side is pretty solid. But yeah, I mean, I think it's almost to the point where if you end up with 5th or 6th in the draft, maybe you try to trade it. I know Jason Robertson might be available if Dallas can't find a contract. Austin Matthews comes available. Maybe you use that as a bargaining chip to trade it.
I'll say this, Matt, real quick. I watched the Dallas feed of the game the other night, and Dallas said Robertson and their agents have put the talks on hold till after the playoffs, but they're pretty sure, wink, wink, that the agreement will be reached with him. So I don't think he's going to hit the market.
All right, well, they'll have to make some cap room elsewhere. But, Kasi, your thought on this whole Ranger draft situation here?
Well, if McKenna's available, I snap him up if I'm the Rangers. That's
100%.
the way it is, plain and simple. Why? Because I think he's a proven scorer, okay? The one thing the Rangers don't have is a finisher, a guy that finishes by scoring. I don't want a total playmaker
Excellent.
anymore. I want a guy that scores. I want somebody that finishes. And if it's not him, okay, obviously it's probably not going to be him because of the position that they're in draft-wise. If you guys are talking about a defenseman, I don't want a fancy damn defenseman that can handle the puck and skate like the wind. I want a mean, ornery guy that plays defense, clears the front of the net. That's what I want. If you're gonna
I
go,
told you guys.
if you're gonna go D, you gotta have a tough kid coming in, big size. I'm not gonna wait for another guy that, well, he's only 18 or 19, and he'll fill in 3 years. If there's a guy out there 6'3", 215, 220, you go for him.
I told you a couple weeks ago,
he's got to understand that he's there for a reason. It's not to be Adam Fox. It's not to be Slick Dan on the point. It's to be a mean, ornery bastard. That's what they need.
I think the 17th pick excites me more than the top 5 pick, where I told you guys 2 weeks ago about that kid who is 6'8", 240 at 17, and he's 100.
I looked at that today.
He's 100-point scorer. At this point, he's got 97 or 98 points, this kid. And they say that he's got first-round hands, but his body's got to fill out. How much more could you fill out at 240? I mean, this is the guy I want down the middle for this team. So I'm more excited about these. This is a very deep second-line center draft. Let's put it that way. And I want the biggest, meanest son of a bitch we can get at that 17 pick. I don't want Drury going out and trying to find a flyer on some 5'9" kid from Slovakia. I want size, and I want to throw shit at the wall and hope that 2 out of the 6 picks in this draft make it to the NHL as badasses.
I want size and speed, though. This Ranger team is not fast. They need to get a little more speed. 100%. They need more speed on this team too. And I know you guys like size, but they definitely need a lot of speed on this team as well. Here's my whole thing. If they win this game and worst case scenario they fall to 5th or 6th, because that's how the lottery works out, I'm of the mindset where there's a lot of, as you say, Ricky, there's a kind of elite talent, and then there's a lot of, basically 5 through 20 is kind of a crapshoot, right? I think you're of the mindset where if you have 5th or 6th overall and worst case happens, I would trade back and go from 6 to 13 or 14 and get an extra first or second round pick next year or in this year's draft to bolster those odds, because I don't think you're getting the elite quality talent. If you're not getting top 3 in this draft, you're not getting, or top 4, you're not getting that elite talent, because there's a gap between top 4 and then 5 through 20 or whatever, as they say. So I'm of the mindset, if you get 5th or 6th and your guy that you don't love is there, where if you say, okay, the 15th best prospect we have is only slightly below this number 5 prospect, I would trade back and try to get more assets, because there's plenty of holes on this team that they need to fill, in my opinion.
Well, there's going to be a lot of stuff going on too, though, guys, because Schneider's up for contract again. He's talking about a long-term deal, so there's going to be a lot of stuff going on between now and the draft.
I don't think Schneider leaves the draft as a New York Ranger. I would not.
I'm just saying, though, Chris Drury's got to have his hands full of trying. All these scenarios we're talking about, okay, like Matt just came with one, you came with one. It's all going to depend on what Chris Drury wants to do to improve the team before the draft. Is he going to make that trade to pick up somebody that's a proven player in the league already? You know what I mean? There's going to be all kinds of stuff. What they need, I'm saying it again. I said it last week, and I'll say it every show until next season starts. They need a pure sniper. I don't want a guy that handles the puck. I want him to shoot and score. That's what they need up front. And they need that big, robust, mean, angry defenseman behind them, because they don't have one right now. They don't have one. They don't have anybody. They don't have anybody on the back line that players fear going into the corner with. They don't have one.
Does Adam? So here's a stat for the New York Rangers, by the way, for everybody out there. The Rangers have played 14 games without Igor Shesterkin and Adam Fox. In those 14 games without Igor Shesterkin and Adam Fox, they are 2-11-3. Okay, I'm sorry, that's not 14, but they've played that's 16 games. They're 2-11-3.
They have a bad record with Fox's though.
Yeah, so but not with Fox and Shesterkin. What does that tell you? Fox has been.
Does that mean we pick another guy that plays like Adam Fox?
I'm not saying that. I'm saying Fox has been a fantastic offensive defenseman
He
this year as
is.
a point per game
He
player.
is.
His defensive metrics aren't as bad as people make him out to be, and
Mm,
he still has a lot of value. Now, what I'll say is this: I don't think Fox is a first line defenseman. But if he's your second or third pair, where he doesn't have that much defensive reliability and he's still number one on the power play, look at Eric Carlson. Eric Carlson had a 100-point season when he was with Ottawa, and he was still a minus 32 for the year. How do you score 100 points as a defenseman and be minus 32 on the season? You're pretty awful defensively. So what I'll say is this: Fox isn't the top pair guy. Him and Gavrikov are fine. You do need a shutdown defenseman on the top end. And the way I see it is you have five right handed defensemen right now. You have Schneider, you have Fox, you have Morrow, you have Iorio, and you have Borgen. Okay, obviously you only want three right handed shots. The left side is pretty weak. You got Gavrikov, Robertson's okay. I mean, I know you guys are higher on Robertson than me. I think he's a fine sixth defenseman. Then
that's
you got
fine, but he
Vakaheinen.
fits in well as a fifth or sixth defenseman.
Okay, you
My
got
opinion.
Vakaheinen. You got what's his
Out.
name? What's his name? He just got called up. Fortescue, Drew
He's looked good
Fortescue.
so far.
He's looked good. He's looked really good. So again, you need a little more help on that right left side. But one of those five guys on the right are getting traded. It's not going to be Iorio. He doesn't have a lot of value. Scott Morrow, boy, you think we won the Keandre Miller deal when we got a first and a second? That's going to be the 30th overall pick, pretty much, and you got a second round pick that's going to be 60. And then Scott Morrow, who looked pretty good in Carolina, he's looked awful as a Ranger. I mean, so one of the right-handed defensemen is getting traded. I don't think it's Morgan. It's probably Schneider and Fox. Schneider's the easier move. Fox, I don't know. I mean,
I don't listen. I'm telling you. I said this to you guys, and I'm sticking by it. I don't like Fox and Gavrikov as a pair. I don't like them at all.
they've been great metrically
I
on the
don't really
metrics.
care. I don't care. They're two of the slowest guys on the team. You can't have two slow guys together on the D. You just can't do that and think you're going to win regular, win games all the time. You can't. They got to split those two guys up. They
Well, I
have to
don't.
split. You got to put somebody a little faster with Adam Fox or vice versa with Gavrikov, because you can sit there and give me their records and their plus minuses and all this stuff. But how many times have you seen them both get caught standing still and guys with medium speed blow around them? Happens all the time to those two. Happens
Fox
all
has
the
been
time.
beaten more.
He does
Fox
get blown
has
by
been
a
beaten
lot.
more this year than I've ever seen him beaten in the last half of this
And
season. He's been
Gavrikov's
beaten.
not as bad as Fox, but he gets beat too. He's not fast. They're not really fleet of
Him
foot.
and Schneider were
They
awful
are
together.
great positional players, both of them. They understand positional stuff. But you got to have that speed to go with the slower guy. You don't match two guys together that both skate the same way. Doesn't work in the long run, guys. If I'm the head coach, I change them. And I agree with you, Matt, all the way. Adam Fox is a power play specialist, plain and simple. Nobody on that team sees the ice like he does. Nobody passes like he does. Nobody has those little inside a phone booth moves where he dips his shoulder, all that stuff. There's nobody on the team better than him at that.
No.
So, I'm changing them up next year. I'm not pairing them together. I'm sorry.
So we're winding down here because I know Katsu, you got to go. It looks like we're gonna win this game 4-2. But you know what? I think the Ranger team had some bright spots towards the end of the season. I think playing the kids. But Ricky, I'm going to quote you here. It's all if the Rangers re-sign Connor Sheary, because you know he's going to play next year. That will tell you everything you need to know whether they're going to play the youth movement or not. My biggest concern as a New York Ranger fan is this: that we played the kids the back half of the season. Sullivan, who's notorious for playing veterans, will October 1st, when we have our first game of the year, we'll go right back to playing the veterans and not playing the young players that got us when we play pressure-free hockey. If they've re-signed Connor Sheary, I think for sure that's going to be the telltale sign that this team isn't serious about contending next year. Because he's fine as a 13th forward. Him in the top six is ridiculous.
He can't be on the team. Never mind. Listen to me. Let me explain something to you. He scored 6 goals at the end of the season. 4 of them hit him in the fucking leg. He is not coming out and playing offensive hockey. He's playing with a top 6 player in Miller, and Cartier has made that line something to look at. You want to talk about a kid who deserves a promotion? Cartier deserves to get a shot at the top 6.
2 goals tonight. And 2 goals and an assist, 3 points. Yeah.
Right. My point is, Connor Sheary, and I kid around a lot about the nepotism, but he made this team because he's Mike Sullivan's nephew. Plain and simple. Every other team on the league passed on him last year. He was an AHL player last year. When teams had massive injuries, he was not signed. And he came up here, and he did not make the best of it. He takes a ton of stupid penalties. I can't tell you how many times he takes a lazy penalty. He's beaten to the puck constantly. He's knocked off the puck constantly. He plays with a mini hockey stick because he's 4'11". And if he's on this team next year, I throw my hands up in the air and I just really go full-time to being a San Jose Shark fan, because that is a detriment to this organization. We need Dylan Rubrick up here next year. We need a bunch of these kids to continue to develop. I don't need a 36-year-old niece fucker on my team because he's the coach's nephew. Now you hit a sore point. I took the Keandre Miller shit from you earlier on and didn't say a word, but this Connor Sheary son of a bitch needs to be gone. Plain and simple. And giving him power play 2 minutes. Are you kidding me with that?
Listen, it's so easy to get you guys going. Guys, if you want me to piss Ricky off, just mention Keandre Miller. If you want me to piss Cassie off, we're going to mention
Keandre. I got to get my Connor Sheary thing in. Ricky, if he happens to sign again at the bare minimum for a veteran, the only way I'd be okay with it is he's one of the black aces. You know what a black ace is?
Yeah, I do, but he's not going to be.
He's the guy that has to skate after practice every day extra. He's the guy that has to go work out every day after practice, and he's only inserted in case of injury.
Kotze, let me ask you a question, Kotze. Hold on. I got one more point.
You can have him back.
Where is Adam Edstrom? Where is the guy that
Where's
games
Brent
ago,
Broad?
Mike Sullivan said he did a great job playing center for the first time since he was 16.
Okay.
Then he had one bad game, and he hasn't played in 10 games.
We get that. I get that with you, but I'm just giving you the raw point.
He can black ace my asshole, okay? That's what he can black ace.
But I'm just telling you, that's how it's going to – if he comes back, that's how it's going to – I'm saying a big if.
I know. I'm not yelling at you. You know the game better than I do.
A guy like Edstrom is probably going to be making more money than Connor Sheary. That's the other thing you got to factor.
He's under contract next year.
He's on for $990.
You
That's
know
all
what
he's
I'm trying
making.
to say here, Ricky.
But I'm saying, does that hold a guy like Edstrom from making the team next year? He's been benched 10 straight games.
I don't disagree with that. All I'm saying to you is that if he does end up being signed by them again, the only scenario that it's worth it is to be a black ace. That's all I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah. Well, I'm lucky. In
other words, he's not penciled in to play every night. He's only
I guess we're lucky that Connor Sheary
road trip 5 games and one guy gets hurt. Okay, you got to go play tonight. Then you don't see.
That's Dylan Radish. That's Radish. I'd like to have Radish in that role. I don't mind that. But Connor Sheary, I guess we're lucky he's straight. Otherwise, we'd have Steve McKenna as his niece.
Steve McKenna, wow.
Okay, I think that'll do it here, guys. On that, guys, it's been a great.
I love you guys. I gotta go. I love you too. I'll talk to you next week, but I gotta jump off, guys.
Yes, Ricky's got to jump off. Kotze's got to jump off. We thank everybody for joining us here on the Instigators Hockey Show. Next week we'll be talking all about the playoffs. The playoffs will have started by next week. We'll see who's right. We'll see who's wrong, and we'll see Team USA still having Olympic gold. You know, right, Kotze?
You know, even a squirrel finds a nut once in 100 years.
I love it. I love it. Thank you, guys.
Remember that 3 gold medals in over 100 years. Just remember that.
Just the most recent one.
Just remember that.
All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next week. God bless everybody.
All right, I'm out.